Good evening, everybody, or to those listening on the audio, happy Christmas Day. My name's James, and you're listening to my regular weekly stream on YouTube, Ask James, where I welcome questions from the YouTube community on anything football related. To timestamp this, it's just gone 8 p.m. UK time on Christmas Eve. I'd like to firstly, obviously, wish all of you a very merry and happy Christmas. Enjoy whatever you're doing over the next 24. Oh, look at that. Repeat. 24, 48 hours or so. And stay safe, particularly, guys. As ever, what I'll do with these streams is I will start with team news for game week 15, which unusually for this stream is around about 36 hours or so away. The team news we have, because tomorrow is Christmas Day, or if you're listening to the audio, it's obviously today. We're unlikely to get anything further than what we're aware of. So, look, every club will train on Christmas Day. If anybody picks up an injury in training on Christmas Day, we are very unlikely to hear about it. So, team news as it stands. Leicester and Manchester United opens the game week. For Leicester, Cagliostro is close, and if not available on Saturday, maybe for the trip to Crystal Palace on Monday. Jamie Vardy is fit to play, according to Brendan Rodgers, but I would say with near certainty that he will not play at Crystal Palace on Monday. The recovery of 48 hours would likely be too soon for him with his ongoing hip injury issue that he is managing. For Manchester United, there was no update from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer following the Carabao Cup win at Everton on the status of Scott McTominay and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. We can only assume that they are both doubts for the trip to the King Power. Aston Villa play Crystal Palace on Saturday. Ezri Konsa is back in training and available following illness. Trezeguet is still out. Ross Barkley started training on Wednesday. For Crystal Palace, Gary Cahill will be unavailable. Christian Benteke returns from suspension. For Fulham, their biggest issue is that manager Scott Parker will not be in attendance at Craven Cottage for the visit of Southampton. He has a household member who has contracted COVID. Parker has tested negative himself, but he's obviously isolated. Joshua Anderson is available after getting his red card at Newcastle overturned. Mario Lemina is ineligible to face his parent club. And Kenny Tete is now fit, but a doubt as his partner has given birth. Congratulations, we got a baby Tete. For opponent Southampton, Yannick Vestergaard has fluid on the knee and is a doubt. He has not trained this week. Nathan Redmond and Danny Ings have also not trained this week. Vestergaard probably has the highest chance of being available of the three, but note caution. Oriol Romeo is suspended after picking up his fifth yellow card against Manchester City. Stuart Armstrong has a hand problem and is also a doubt. Things happen at this time of year. Arsenal play Chelsea on Saturday evening. Thomas Partey is likely to be unavailable, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is a doubt with an ongoing calf issue that's kept him out of the League Cup defeat to Manchester City and a defeat to Everton last weekend. Gabriel Martinelli is also a doubt, but suggested on Instagram he is fine after taking a heavy knock to the shin in a defeat to City. Granit Xhaka returns from suspension. For Chelsea, Ben Chilwell and Reece James are both doubtful. Frank Lampard couldn't rule either out, couldn't confirm if they would be available. Hakim Ziyech is still out though, but he could return next week. Manchester City, we have no updated news from Pep Guardiola. You may find that there's some embargoed quotes from Manchester City that go on their official accounts probably after 10 p.m. tonight, Christmas Eve, if not maybe on their official accounts after 10 p.m. on Christmas Day, but no team news as such on them, other than basically everyone's available. Gabriel Jesus returned for the win at Arsenal. Aguero got some minutes as well. They are nearly a fully fit squad. For Newcastle, Martin Dubravka is nearing a return and hopes to play in January. Steve Bruce suggested that Callum Wilson will be given a rest at some point over Christmas. Federico Fernandez is also a doubt. Jamal Lascelles and Alan St. Maximin have been hit very badly by COVID and are not likely to return anytime soon. Lascelles is likely to be ready before St. Maximin. Sheffield United and Everton is also late on Saturday night. Ollie McBurney is a doubt for the Blades. Lys Mousset will not start, but could feature from the bench, according to Chris Wilder. Sander Berge is likely out for 3 to 4 months with a tendon injury in a hamstring. and John Lundstrom is suspended. He may well have played his last game for the Blades. He's obviously out of contract next summer. Someone might pick him up on the cheap in January. For Everton, Carlo Ancelotti says that Richarlison is fine, quote, after a heavy collision in the Carabao Cup defeat against Manchester United. However, presumably, if he suffered any forms of concussion or dizziness, he will be out for the next 2 game weeks. Bearing in mind, obviously, game week 16 begins on Monday, and Everton also play Manchester City on Monday themselves. So I wouldn't expect Richarlison to be available personally. James Rodriguez remains a doubt. Leeds v Burnley is one of 4 games on Sunday. For Leeds, Liam Cooper has an abdominal strain and is out. He is the latest centre-back to suffer an injury issue for Leeds. But the good news is Diego Llorente is in condition to play, according to Marcelo Bielsa. For Burnley, Robbie Brady and Dwight McNeil both have knocks, but could be available to play. Sean Dyche is quite hopeful for their involvement. Jack Cork and Johan Berg Gudmundsson have been training since Wednesday and could well be on the bench. For West Ham, Mikel Antonio is training, though unlikely to be used on Sunday. And their opponents, Brighton, Tariq Lamptey remains out with a slight hamstring injury. I would suggest slight hamstring injury is probably also going to keep him out of game week 16, you would think. Liverpool play West Brom at 4:30 UK time on Sunday. Thiago Alcantara is closing in on return, but won't be risked. James Milner and Sheridan Shaqiri have both begun training. They are likely to be available. For West Brom, Jake Livermore starts a 3-match ban. Cole Bartley is likely to be out. Mateus Pereira returns from suspension, and the game week ends with Wolves against Tottenham. Wolves have, as per usual, according to Nuno Espirito Santo, some issues. Like every week. Leander Dendoncker hasn't trained and is unlikely to return. For Tottenham, Gareth Bale is a doubt. He was withdrawn over the win over Stoke last night, complaining of tightness in the calf at half-time, but his removal from the game was more precautionary. Giovanni Lo Celso won't feature in any of the Christmas fixtures after picking up a hamstring injury, but Eric Lamela did get minutes at Stoke and is available. And when that game week finishes, me and Suj will be recording, and our aim is to get the podcast out to you for midnight on Sunday night, reviewing all of the game week 15 action. So let's get into the chat on YouTube, see what questions are being fired at us today. Paul Sweeney says, hi, James. Merry Christmas, pal. Sufal or Dallas as rotating 4th defender sub? Thanks. Toss a coin. First question is, and it's difficult to answer, but I'm going to assume on this, they both got a double in game week 19. That's probably where your strategy is heading, towards game week 19 players. That's fine. I can't answer the question because I don't know what I'm doing yet for a very similar debate. So for me at the moment, I'm probably 3 from 4 on a wild card, which is looking like Bednarak, Balbuena, Dallas, Charlie Taylor. I'm probably going to go with 3 of those 4. I would just rather save the little money back on Balbuena rather than Sufal and use Balbuena as a bench option following game week 19. That's my current thinking. Sufal or Dallas? Dallas will drive you crazy. He's got the best XG of any defender, so he's more likely to get you attacking returns. Leeds can get battered in any game, basically, though. The choice is yours. If you want security, Sufal is probably the safer play. If you're happy to go from 0 to 9 week to week, go for Dallas. Bevan Rosario said, Merry Christmas. In your opinion, will Vestergaard play? Also, which 3 should start out of Vestergaard, Dallas, Sufal, Diaz, and Zuma? So, to answer the first part, to be honest, guessing if someone's going to play if they're an injury doubt this week is near on impossible. In my opinion, does he play? Probably not. I don't think it's worth the risk for Saints with West Ham 3 days later for them to force him to play at Fulham if he hasn't been training. I don't think you take a risk with a player over a Christmas period if they're injured. That would be my opinion. So probably not. You've also asked which 3 should play out of Vestergaard, Dallas, Sufal, Diaz, and Zuma. So definitely play Diaz. That's 100% up, but he probably won't play. And I've got Diaz as well. So you want your first sub, but you've got to leave him in the team, I think. Play Kurt Zuma at Arsenal. Again, I'm not a fan of leaving out premium defenders personally. He's not necessarily a premium price, but he's playing for a premium team, let's say. So I'd play Zuma. And then from the rest, I would probably just about favour Dallas over Sufal for this particular game week, with Dallas playing Burnley and Sufal playing Brighton, but very close call. Vestergaard would be last. Cole Peters is likely to be last on my bench this game week. So that's the way I would play it. This week's going to be interesting from these type of question perspective, because a lot of people are going to land this week with a very strong defensive backline of 4 or 5 very decent options. Peter Widmark says, hello, James. As it stands, I'll only have 4 players playing in game week 18 and won't have enough transfers to get a bench boostable team for 19. Do I use free hit 18 and triple captain 19? Or do I just free hit 18 and sit put with triple captain? These questions are extremely difficult to ask without having seen a team. And please, if you're in the chat, please don't post your whole team, because honestly, I won't bother reading it. You got 4 players for 18. I would suggest that's probably enough to think, okay, I can get 7 additional players. It's probably worth the free hit. That would be my thinking. You can use the transfers between now and then, assuming you've used your first wild card, to improve the outlook for 19 to then use the triple captain. That seems fairly reasonable, Peter. Sam Thomas says, who do I sell out of Mahrez or Grealish to free up money to strengthen my bench for the Xmas period? Looking to downgrade either to Rafinha, but can't decide which to sell. If you've only got 1 free transfer, Sam, I'd roll the transfer. Simple as that. And then you might have more information for next week. So if Mahrez plays against Newcastle, that would be a major bonus for you. Then you can probably anticipate that maybe he doesn't start at Everton, for example. So there's information to be gained. If you've got the 1 free transfer, I would be looking to roll. If you had to move one, I can't answer that because I don't know what your strategy is, Sam. Where are you going for 18, 19? If you're planning for 18, you want Mahrez. If you're planning, well, they're both playing in 18, aren't they? Sorry. I would bin Mahrez rather than Grealish, personally. I think Jack Grealish is a solid hold for anybody who's planning towards game week 18. So I would sell Mahrez, but I think it's well worth rolling the transfer. And that will apply for a lot of people who haven't got that first wild card, not intending to use the second one in game week 17. This is a good week to roll. To be honest, in any case, it's a good week to roll unless you're using that first wild card if you're in strong position. Ram says, Merry Christmas, James. Hope all is well. Just came to say thanks for the content. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Ram. Very kind of you. Rishi Patel, start Ayling or Sufal this week. This one's slightly different to Dallas because Ayling, I assume, with Cooper out and Llorente returning, I assume Ayling just plays centre-back again. So not expecting anything from Ayling from an attacking perspective. Not that you overly expect it from Sufal, but that's probably one there where I'd just edge for Sufal, actually. Just ever so slightly edge for Sufal, but I would go Dallas over Sufal to clarify. Angus McPhail, favourite food item in a Christmas dinner. That's better. None of this fantasy nonsense. Got to be pigs in blanket, isn't it? All about the pigs in blankets. You never have them any other time, do you? Bevan Rosario, what do you think of Grealish and DCL out for Che Adams and Son before game week 16? I will have 2 free transfers. Doing this with double game week 19 and other fixtures in mind. Seems reasonable. I mean, look, for my wild card, I'm not going to have Grealish or DCL, and I probably will have Che Adams and Heung-min Son. So, yeah, seems reasonable. You definitely want to keep Grealish for Crystal Palace this weekend. And then, look, the fixtures turn. Chelsea United away is a bit tougher. He's always going to be a difficult person to sell because he's so good, essentially. But, yeah, I think I would probably go with that, Bevan. Bellis says, is that a new scratch on your head? I'll tell you what it is. I've got a scar on my head. This is not great for those on the audio, but for YouTube, you probably see I've got a scratch on my head. It's actually a scar. I just come out the shower and I probably rubbed it too hard with a towel. It's as simple as that. This is a scar I picked up when I was 10. It does look really bad at the moment, actually. That's what I've done. I rubbed it too hard with a towel. I headbutted a concrete post. Not intentionally, I should add. I was playing football in the playground before school. That's what you did then. Got in at 8 in the morning to play football before school. And I bounced off this kid who was a bit bigger than me. I mean, everyone was bigger than me, but he was a bit wider than me, to be fair. And slid across the ground, and my head managed to, on the edge of a concrete post. 9 stitches, claret, everywhere. That's what that is, yeah. Benny Blanco says, hi, James. What's the best combo for a game week 16 wildcard and double game week 19 bench boost. Justin and Kane would become Vardy in 19. Zuma and Vardy, or Trent and Martial. Trent and Martial, mate. I'm always going to pick Trent option, and I think with the two fixtures Liverpool got coming up first, take advantage of that first. So Trent and Martial. I wouldn't. Vardy is no consideration for a wild card, but I also want to buy him in game week 19. I can't shake the feeling that if he plays Manchester United this weekend, he doesn't play Crystal Palace on Monday. Rodgers changed the whole team when he went to West Ham during the Christmas period last year, and I think he'll heavily rotate for Crystal Palace again on Monday. So I can't be wildcarding into a player that I genuinely think doesn't play. So I like the plan. Benny, you're on similar thinking to me in terms of making that move in 19. But from those options, Trent and Martial, mate. Danny McDonald says, Merry Christmas, James. How do you think Poch will do at PSG, assuming he joins? Well, I believe the guys in the know seem to think that's a done deal. So mixed feelings on it. PSG is not my favourite club because of stuff off the football pitch. But it's one of Pochettino's clubs. I obviously want him to do very, very well and would prefer him to do well outside of the Premier League. So I genuinely, although I'm not a fan of PSG by any extent, I would love him to win the Champions League there. That would be fantastic. He deserves that. I'm sure he'll probably win Ligue 1. So he's going to put the old can't win trophies thing to bed. Surely he can't fuck that up. So I think he'll do well. I think the issue that he might find is, like when he came into Tottenham, there was egos at Tottenham and there's egos at PSG. And if the egos don't want to play the way he wants to play, naming no names, but I think you can probably have a guess, then it might not last very long, actually. But I desperately hope that it goes well for him. Really, really do. Wish him every success. Poch, love him. Rishi Patel says, how many double game week players would you want if bench boosting in game week 19? I will have 10. I can get 12, but with hits. I would want 15. However, the thing is, it's not easy to say, oh, what's a good number? Do you want 10 with a double? Do you want 12 with a double? It's a regular question that I get, and I can't answer it because it depends what the single game week players are. So if your single game week players are shit, they need binning. If you're going into game week 19 with the likes of De Bruyne, Kane, Son, I'm just naming a few hypothetical big name players who don't have doubles, then of course in a single game week they can pop off bigger than the guys with doubles. So it's more about what those players are, to be honest. You wouldn't want to be sitting there with one of your single players that say, I don't know, a Newcastle player who's a defender, Jamal Lewis, for example, playing away to Arsenal as part of your bench boost. So it really depends what those single game week players are. Some might argue that Jamal Lewis would be a good pick for that, but I think you get the principle of what I'm saying. Benny Blanca says, happy Christmas. Thanks for the great content and advice over the 12 months. Much appreciated, Benny. Thank you, mate. Jake Cow says, what time do the beers get cracked open tomorrow? Have a good day, mate. All the best. So, honest truth, and I know those who've listened to us for a long time will probably find this very hard to believe. But in the summer, I obviously did the Champ Man streams for Champ Man FPL. I think the last one was August the 8th. I haven't had a beer since then. I haven't had any alcohol at all. So that's coming up to 4.5 months now. I won't be drinking tonight. Won't be drinking tomorrow. There'll be a lot of background work going on tomorrow for some stuff for patrons and that, while obviously spending time with the wife and the kid. But no, I won't be drinking. It's a social event for me, and there's nothing social about life at the moment. So that will come back. I'm not going to be one of these who says I've quit drinking or anything like that. I haven't, but I won't be drinking tomorrow personally. FPL telling Josh, evening James, love the content this month as always. Hope you and the family have a great Christmas, and Harry has a great day. Thank you very much. We got balloons is the latest thing, so there's not too much you can do in terms of restrictions and it being cold and wet at the moment. So we've got Harry a shitload of balloons for tomorrow. That will keep him well happy. Vish says, on a wild card, would you choose Vardy and Son or Martial and Mane / KDB? I would personally, it's a really difficult one because I would not pick Jamie Vardy in my wild card this week. Genuinely, unless he was a sub against Manchester United. That would be the only thing that would make me reassess that. And therefore, by default, I'd probably have to go with the other option, but I don't particularly like it. Birth Media says, hey, James, season greetings. Before the double game week, double transfer of Grealish and Kilman out for Souček and Trent. Thoughts? I like it. Matt Clark says, Merry Christmas Eve, James, and happy Boxing Day Eve to you, Matt. What do you think of moving KDB to Mane for the Salah Mane double up this week? Then free hitting KDB and Sterling in for game week 18 and the Liverpool boys back for game week 19. Again, seems reasonable, Matt. The thing is with these strategy questions at the moment, I'm guessing by now, in terms of we've had a week to get a principal idea around what we want to do with our strategy. When it involves aiming for a bench boost, etc., you got to stick to your guns and go for what you believe in. If you believe that's the right way to go, Salah Mane on the double up, I'm not going to stop you. In my opinion, that with Mane is probably too much money for a person that right now, unless it flip-flops, you are never going to captain. That would be the warning sign I'd put on that. And I'd rather be looking for a Trent Robertson double up or even putting Matip in. Or do you know what? Even very, very short term, Roberto Firmino is a bad price. He's too expensive. But if you're looking very, very short term and you're looking at West Brom at home, Newcastle away, and then the double game week and you're skipping 18, I don't mind it. If someone wants to go for Firmino at the moment. If you ask me if Firmino's an option in game week 20 after he's gone mental over Christmas, the answer is going to be no. For this short little stretch, don't mind it. Don't mind it at all, personally. Stick to your guns. If that's what you believe, it's absolutely fine. Just on that strategy, obviously, we did a shit pod Monday, which we got stitched up because we dropped it. And then they announced they was moving the Carabao Cup final from game week 26 to game week 33. And we covered on Tuesday's podcast the principles behind what the impact on that is in terms of a potential big double game week 26, which we can all only guess at what it looks like at the moment. Manchester United's win over Everton on Wednesday is quite significant to the extent that it means we definitely will not have a Manchester United double game week in game week 17. There is still the possibility that Burnley and Manchester United will take place in game week 18. My instinct, and it is only that, is that now will not happen. There are two reasons. One, at the time of recording, it's Christmas Eve evening. So could we get an announcement on Sunday, maybe? Possibly. You go any later than that, then I think we're going into just over a week till the game, and then it's not going to happen. And the other thing is the whole principle of 18-19 was to split one game week into two midweeks so the broadcasters could show all 10 games live from a midweek schedule at different times. There are no games taking place at the same time. Manchester United would have to, if it's scheduled, go on the same evening as Aston Villa versus Tottenham and Manchester City versus Brighton. I don't think they want to do that. I don't think it's going to happen. And I think that means a likely rearranged date now is probably not until February at the earliest. That would be my instinct. Christopher Guinness. Hey, James, what is the best Christmas gift you ever received? Merry Christmas. Oh, gosh. We'd have to go. So, probably, to be honest, I'm quite a simple guy. You can tell that from the way I speak. It would be something Spurs related when I was a kid. I'm trying to think if I got anything. To be honest, when I got things like a Mega Drive when I was a kid, remember the old Sega Mega Drive? My mum kept saying, I'll buy it for you for Christmas, buy it for you for Christmas, buy it for you for Christmas. I got it in fucking July. She was sick of me nagging her. So I tended to get shit early if I wanted it. I can't think of any major. The thing for me as well is my birthday is December the 13th. So from a present perspective, people really kind of think, oh, you had something 2 weeks ago, you fucking bastard. So I tend to have got the nicer stuff on my birthday rather than Christmas. Probably Spurs kits or something. A few Boxing Day presents that Tottenham might have given me themselves over the years, maybe. We beat Arsenal in the League Cup a couple of years ago. Was that the 22nd or 23rd of December in the League Cup? That was quite good. Owen Kinnear says, can't stay, mate. Stupid family commitments. Selfish people. Merry Christmas to you, the wife, and Harry, and cheers for all the pods this year. And to you, Owen, thank you. Alex is also saying Merry Christmas. Jonathan Boland, replacement for Richarlison will be wildcarding Sunday night. Well, I wouldn't look further than Calvert-Lewin if you haven't got, to be honest. Obviously, Sheffield United away. Bamford is the one that probably screams out for this particular weekend. I still like Ollie Watkins as a possibility. No intention to sell him, even if he hits a price drop. Not bothered. Good fixture this week. Then I'll get rid on the wild card. Che Adams away to Fulham. Decent. I think they're the ones. Chris Wood, if you're feeling a bit fruity, maybe away to Leeds. But to be honest, I wouldn't look beyond Calvert-Lewin as the best shout if you haven't got. If it's just a 1 week punt, the value is regardless. The price doesn't matter. It's just what's affordable. John Lucas, what result this weekend will be a shocker to most? Sheffield, you can't say Sheffield, you have to say Sheffield United, John, over Everton. Arsenal over banged up Chelsea squad. Happy Christmas to you and your fam, James. It's not so much this weekend I'm expecting some surprise results. I think game at 16 we might get some surprises. I think if I was to put my neck out and predict one, I think Fulham will possibly get something against Southampton because Ings injury, Vestergaard doubt, Redmond doubt, Romeo suspended. There's enough there that makes me believe that Fulham might get a result against Southampton. I don't know if you consider that particularly as a surprise. I expect Chelsea to beat Arsenal. I'm even semi-confident that Tottenham might win. I think Leicester United might be a draw. Neither result would be a shock. Can't not see Liverpool and Man City winning. So maybe Fulham to get something against Southampton. FPL Hitman, Kobe Miranda, FPL Badger, Jonathan Jow. Thanks very much for the Christmas messages. Jonathan also says doesn't really feel like it this year. No, but we have to make the best of what we got. Lamichi also says Merry Christmas. Do you think Mahrez will start? No. I guess. Probably not. I think he probably plays against Everton on Monday. That would be my guess. I'm not Guardiola. John Lucas, classic debate. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? 100% yes. Listen, best thing you can do, do you know what? Everybody do this for me. If you want to take the piss on Christmas Eve or even Christmas Day. Message Suj, my pod partner, at Sujan Shah on Twitter. And just message him, say, at Sujan Shah, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And if you don't think it is, add in the bit that you don't think it is, and watch how quickly he will unfollow you and probably block you. He feels so passionate that it's the best Christmas movie ever. I do agree. It's definitely a Christmas movie. Hutton Dresses Lamb. Hi, James. Pick one to bench, please. Should have kept that in one place, my friend. Click Bowen or Watkins. Click. That's quite straightforward, I think. Matt Clark, would you bench boost if you can only get 11 double game week players out and Brewster would still be on the bench for the double game week? Removing him would be one hit too many to get my team in place. I don't think I would, Matt. That's what I'm talking about. If you're going to take single game week players and bench boost, it's perfectly acceptable. In the restart period, I bench boosted with Danny Ings, Trent, Jimenez. They all had single game days. But these are the kind of calibers of players I'm talking about having as kind of a minimum. So, no. Couldn't be bench boosting with a player like Ryan Brewster, personally. It's not even got a good fixture. Jake Powell, how many hits is Kane's son worth if getting rid of KDB? Currently would be a -8 to get one of them in next week. See how you feel after the weekend, Jake. With KDB not participating at all against Arsenal on Wednesday night, I think the chance of KDB playing both games ahead of then a 6-day break before playing Chelsea have probably increased quite a bit. So whereas I originally thought KDB probably wouldn't play against Newcastle, I now probably think he probably does. He's probably got the fitness element to his game that probably means he can stroll through the Newcastle game and then power through the Everton game, then have 6 days rest, which, to be honest, KDB won't have had, or Manchester City actually won't have had too many 6-day breaks this year with Champions League and whatnot. So I'm not sure you'd want to get rid. You definitely don't for -8, my friend. Kobe Miranda, KWP, Sufalt or Target. Pick 2 to start. I'd go with the guys with the home games, mate. So I'd bench KWP. Grapple says, Merry Christmas, James. Appreciate all the hard work. Thanks very much. FPL Hitman play Souček versus Brighton or Neto versus Spurs. Not an easy one, that. I think the correct answer is Souček. The instinct in me, because it's against Spurs, wants to say play Neto. They played basically Neto and Podence as split forwards basically at Burnley. And I didn't hate it. It didn't actually. They played the role not too bad. With Otasawi playing kind of, I want to say false nine, but it was more like a false 10 actually. In terms of it was more starting from a central midfield position. It wasn't too bad, but you never felt like they were going to score in the game. And Sunday might not be any different. I suspect that Silva might play. I'm not sure if that makes Neto better or worse from an FPL perspective, is the honest answer. I think if it wasn't against Spurs, if you were asking me that question, it was Neto versus Chelsea, even though Neto scored against Chelsea, I think I would say Souček. So I think that's probably the correct answer. Harry Redmond says Antonio on wildcard. For me, no, Harry, unless he plays against Brighton on Sunday, in which case, yes, I'd be interested. And I would have no qualm leaving him on the bench against Southampton. It's not something I would normally do with a forward. But if he was to play an hour against Brighton, I would probably think, did I want to risk him against Southampton? So for me, the answer is no. But one tip I would give, and this is what I want to lean to with my wild card, is to only pick 2 West Ham players. As soon as I saw the doubles, I went, I'm having 3 of them. But I'd want Antonio to be one of them. So I'd go to West Ham and leave that door open. If you go with people around that value, like Bamford, Che Adams, I don't think you'd make the swap for a hit on the day. But if something goes wrong, you're then in position to then get Antonio. So that's part of my thinking at the moment. But not for those wild carding this weekend. No, I don't think so, mate. Danielle Tribrak, sorry if I mispronounced that, says Merry Christmas from Australia. I hope all is well. Jonathan says 1 hour to Xmas over here. Listen, for those on the audio again, James, it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. What are you doing? Kobe Miranda says Rafinha or Jack Harrison. Got a solution for that, Kobe. I might go with both. I would lean to Rafinha, but I keep changing my mind on them 2 week to week, to be honest. Stubbornly, I want to say Harrison because that's the guy I've wanted to back for quite a while and probably should have bought a while ago and didn't, whereas Rafinha's not really been on the table for me. However, I will sum it up like this. I haven't decided on my transfer yet this week, but if I was picking one this week, it would be Rafinha, I think, as a 1 week punt, and that might be the transfer that I make. So on that basis, I will say Rafinha. Stian Bosdale says, if like me, you didn't have the first wild card or free hit, would you use a second wild card for game week 19 or save for later? No fires other than Chilwell. Survive 18-19 with a couple of hits and free transfer. I hope. Merry Christmas. We spoke about this on, I'd strongly recommend listening to the podcast on Tuesday, season 4, episode 19, titled Humbug Carabao. And we speak about updated chip strategy from the chip strategy pod the day before, and about what to kind of do for people like you in that position. And I think the advice would be don't wildcard. Hold it. There's a couple of reasons. One, don't know what 26, 29, 33 single game weeks like Villa, Newcastle, what's going to happen with it yet. And it's probably down the road problems. The second thing is, for me, 19 to 38 is too long. It's too long to believe that you can survive when there's further hurdles to come. I think make the best of what's not the best situation for you, and I would hold it back. I would generally not be advising anyone to use their second wild card in the next 6-7 game weeks, to be honest. Off spinner in a hurry says Merry Christmas. Thank you, Joe Funibada. Hi, James. What have you asked for Father Christmas this year? Same thing I ask for every year, Joe. 3 points, but I'll probably just have to wait till the 27th from this year. Alex Allegretto, Santa thinks I'm a bastard anyway. Alex Allegretto, what are you doing for game week 18, James? So I'm free hitting Alex, almost definitely, unless something changes my mind. For me personally, and I think for others with the first wild card, was kind of hoping United would have lost on Wednesday. Not anything against them, just because then I really think they would have had the double in 17 and I'd have wild carded into 6 Man United and Burnley players. 3 hit 18, then 19, still got the 6. And then work around the rest with Liverpool and West Ham, Leeds, Southampton, whatever other bits required. But I'm almost definitely free hitting 18, mate. It'll be 9 changes for me because I'm likely to go Kane and Son on the wild cards. Just 9 changes. I think that's enough to justify doing it. The value I'll get on that chip then, if I was to hit 40 points, depending on what Kane and Son do, it's worth between 25 or 30 points or so to me, which will be worth more than any other the chips are likely to be. The close proximity of 18, 19 makes it, you can't maneuver it properly, basically. Whereas if I bench boost in 19 as well and can have bench players that might play in 29, once I begin to know the picture around about game week 24, 25, I can still have a strong 26 team and then work through to sort of 7 players in game week 29. Whereas at the moment, between the it's just not workable to do that and get a very strong double game week team with the max that you'd want from it. And obviously, if I can't get in that position for game week 26, there's a good chance I'll just wildcard in game week 26 itself and set up as best as I can for 29. One of the things I'm conscious of coming out of 19 is obviously going to have players who just had a double game week, teams like Liverpool, United, Leeds, Southampton, West Ham, and I don't think any of them land too badly afterwards. United got Sheffield United at home, for example, some good fixtures to land on afterwards. You need to keep an eye on the FA Cup. What I'd like to do is try and get from 19 to 26 and still have 11 doublers and just manoeuvring based on what's happening with the FA Cup results. And then that would mean I could hold that second wildcard till game week 30 and power the running when so many people have already used it. That's what I'd like to do. That's easier said than done. And if I can't make that work for 26, which could be very difficult with very little notice. Obviously, I think the 5th round of the cup is after game week 24, but before 25, I think I want to say. Actually, maybe it's between 23, 24. I think that's right. Anyway, there's not a lot of time to plan for it in terms of the double game week, but that's quite a stretch to understand what's happening with the blank game week. I won't know till I get there, till 24, in terms of exactly what I'm doing, I don't think. Sven van den Akker, who would you keep over the double, Grealish or DCL? If I had to keep one, I think I'd keep Jack Grealish, personally, up to 2. Notorious Nerd, say Merry Xmas, thank you. TJ Durham, Merry Christmas, James. Made a mistake going from Kilman to Taylor accidentally instead of Chilwell to Taylor. Need a replacement for Chilwell. Got Walker, Robbo, thank you and good luck. Can't get to Trent, can you? Depends on your thinking, TJ. Again, very difficult to answer. Are you planning for game week 19? Is it a 1 week punt? You might do worse than Joel Matip in the short term. There's a name to put on the table for you at a definitely cheaper price. Austin Lady says, evening, James. Need a Chilwell replacement. I'm thinking of Matip, but worried he won't start both games. Need I say more? There's a chance that they'll save him. I think in the Newcastle game, if they did. I'm not overly concerned about it. I think Liverpool, my opinion is, they play Sunday, Wednesday, and then the following Monday. Get 9 points from it, and they're going to be well clear. Well clear. It's a big period for them. I think someone like Matip is probably going to be more of a concern for you in the double, maybe. But then again, there's cup fixtures. There's a 3-week and FA Cup fourth round either side of the Manchester United Burnley fixtures. See, excuse me, even that, there's a chance he plays both. My instinct is, if Joel Matip is fit, i.e. not injured, my instinct would be that he plays at least the next 6 league fixtures, because Liverpool play Tottenham in the league after they play Burnley. So if he's fit, the thing is they haven't got a backup that they can trust to put in, even against someone like a Callum Wilson, for example. Don't want to be playing Nat Phillips or Reece Williams in that game. They've played games, but they've played games when they had to play games. I think they'd look at it and go, Sunday, you assess afterwards, what's his recovery like? If his recovery is good, he plays. If his recovery is good, he doesn't play. The 5-game gap between Newcastle and Southampton is great. That shouldn't be an issue at all. So it'll purely come down to whatever his recovery is like after the West Brom game. It's obviously the potential as well. Look, if they're cruising through the game and winning 3-0, take him off. You know, Jurgen wanted all these players to use off the bench. If you're winning 3-0, take your centre-half off. If he was that worried about him, he could have done that at Palace as well, couldn't he? And he didn't. I think Joel Matip would be all right. T-Tac, hey, James, you got a bench 1. Sufal, Suchek, Dallas. And you got a captain 1. Sterling, Kane, Fernandes. Thanks. But first thing is do whatever you can to get Mo Salah this week. You got a captain one of Sterling, Kane, Fernandes. I'd go Fernandes of the three. Any game, any time. Not that Kane and Sterling aren't particularly. I mean, Harry Kane is as well, but against Wolves is very unlikely to go off. Fernandes got more chance of going off, I'd say, than Kane this week. Sterling, too big a risk for me in terms of don't start. So I just wouldn't want to take that risk. The only Man City player I'd feel comfortable captain this week is KDB, and I'm not sure I'd even feel comfortable with that. Play Souček. So based on what I said earlier, T-Tac would be bench Soufal from those players. Roseanne Fleur says, Merry Christmas. What are you doing tomorrow? I am not doing much. Me, the missus, and my son, we are going to go and see the wife's dad for a few hours in the afternoon because he's on his own. Won't be seeing my mum and dad. They've got each other, but we're going to go and see her dad for a few hours. It's going to be very, very low-key. We'll have a nice day, but it also doesn't feel like anything to celebrate. It's just like another good day for me. I've got my boy, so it's a good day for him, but he doesn't understand what's going on yet. This time next year he will, and we're making more of a fuss of it, hopefully. And hopefully the world will be in a better place. It's going to be very chilled out. Boxing Day is more important. I've got 6 games of football to watch. That's the working priority, Roseanne. Luke Hopkinson says, KWP or Ayling this week, mate. So as it would stand now, I've got Ayling, but might be selling for Dallas. This is about value if I make that move. But if I don't, and I go, say, Greenwood to Rafinha, I would go Ayling second sub, KWP third sub. That's what I'd be looking at. And with Ruben Diaz in my team, I would be assuming that Ayling will end up playing. And that would be the choice I'd make. Sebo Slice, how many bench boosters should you have in your wild card, James? Again, depends, right? I mean, I really don't enjoy advising people, particularly on wildcard, because I think with a wildcard, you really should make it the team that you want and you like and understand what your own plan is. There are so many variants of a wildcard that it's nearly impossible to just answer straight back questions like that. So if you bought Heung-min Son at 9 million, for example, and you're like, I'm not selling that guy, he's a season keeper. Well, he's got a single game week. They got Sheffield United away. I'm not going to say you have to sell him. Personally, I'm going to get there and I'm probably going to sell him because I'd look at it and go, I've got someone else for a double game week. And even if that doesn't win, Tottenham have got Liverpool afterwards. Am I going to win again? I'm probably not going to keep winning. So that would be my outlook on that particular scenario, for example. But I think it's more about, as I said, if you're going with single game week players, who are they? I mean, if you're carrying someone like Jack Grealish through, okay, Everton at home, it's not the best fixture, but you go, it's Jack Grealish, it's great value. If you want to carry that player through as a single game week option, I have no issue with that at all. It's absolutely fine. So I really don't think there is a set answer. I am likely, if it goes to plan, wildcarding with 13 doublers for 19. And when I get there, I'll have 15. The chances are that won't work out. Atul says, hi, James. Hope you're all staying safe. One question. How would you order the free hit, bench boost, and triple captainships in terms of how crucial they are for maximizing your total points? In the order that you've got them. So I think we underestimate the power of the free hit to cover problems. You can either be used, obviously, defensively, like I'm likely to use it in terms of covering a game week where if I just bust it and did nothing, I'd have 2 players most likely and would get ruined, where I can match and if not, most likely beat many people that game week because I'll have all the information in terms of day before the game, what rest injury situation Manchester City have got, Kane's son, if there's any concerns of rotation, all these sort of things. Are Arsenal back in form? They've got a decent fixture at home to Palace. How do I feel about Sheffield United, Newcastle? I've got Bradley Parker and Sean Norton from Wolves and Everton, our correspondents, coming on to preview that game, which is possibly the hardest to call. So I'll have all the information for a free hit to be able to make the best possible decision. And obviously, if you free hit in a double game week into 15 players with a double and you would have only had 11, then you've got 11 extra players there also. What's the gain you want on a free hit? It's difficult to say because I think it's dependent in terms of when and what the fixtures are. But I would, that game week, the thing is, if you hit a big captain, that could be 30 points in itself. If I'm free hitting, even with there only 5 fixtures, I think I would want 60 points. If I factor in that I've got Son and Kane, and I'd probably need them to do bits to hit that 60, then I guess the gain I'm looking for is somewhere between, let's assume I captain De Bruyne rather than Kane. 40 to 45 points is what I'd want on a free hit in terms of gain of what I wouldn't have. Bench boost, 16 points. I look at that simply and say 4 extra players from my bench, 2 games. If they all get the basic 2 points because they're the 4 worst players, times that twice, 4 fours is 16 points. Triple captain, the additional that you're getting, I think people get triple captains and think, oh my God, I've got 45 points from a triple captain. Now, what you got from your triple captain in that case is 15 points. Because if you just normally captained him, you would have had 30. So the additional you're getting is 15. Anything that's in double figures for a triple captain, I'd be happy with, say, an extra 10 points or so. Anything above that, great. I'd be content with that. If I triple captain someone, they got 10 points, I'd be very content with that. Above 15 is great. That's great. And if you're going above 20, then you've done superbly well. So I think we underestimate the value of actually what does the free hit chip bring us when we use it. So you should be targeting huge differences between what you would have been getting and what you could get for free hit. It's arguably the most important chip, bar probably the wild card. FPL Ralph, happy Crimbo James. Do you think it's more acceptable taking an 8-point hit after a really good game week, 102 points, to set up for double game week 19? A simple answer to that, Ralph, is what's gone before shouldn't affect your decisions of what happens next. Whether you got 102 points or you got 32 points really shouldn't impact the decision to whether you were or are not going to take a hit. Just do it. Doesn't make any difference, mate. JMA 543. Should I bring in Wood for Watkins this week with 1 free transfer? Have no first wild card, and I'm going for the free hit game week 18 and game week 19 bench boost strategy. Well, I think in that case, mate, look, you got Watkins playing Palace, Chris Wood away to Leeds, both decent fixtures, not bad. What do you think? Watkins can't score this weekend? Wood definitely does. It sounds to me with 1 free transfer, the right solution there is to roll and assess your options in midweek when you've got greater information. And if you still want to make the transfer, then you're walking into Wood has got Sheffield United and Fulham at home, while Watkins has got Chelsea and Manchester United away. The chances are that maybe you want to force that now because you're a little concerned of losing the price on Ollie Watkins. If that's the case and you're desperate to make the move and you're going to be very tight for value, fine, make the transfer. But best advice there generally would probably be to roll. J23, Merry Christmas, James. I have 2 free transfers. Considering taking out Chilwell for Trent or Robertson. Should I go for Trent over Robertson as a differential or just not make a transfer for the sake of it? I think you should take a -8 and get both of them, mate. Trent or Robertson, pin me to the wall. Which one do you buy? Trent. There's not a lot in it at the moment. Anybody's looking at statistically is going to say Robertson. Great. Love your statistics. Thanks. Trent, if he does really well, put it this way, this is how I'd say it. If they both scored 15 points this week, say Robertson got a 15 and Trent got a 2, there'd be a lot of interest in Robertson. But it's not likely to be a lot more. If it goes the other way, people might panic. Oh, I've got to get Trent back. Look what Trent's done. And Trent will start shooting up a value. Remember, Robertson started at 7. Trent started at 7.5. They're now both the same. And it means in terms of live ownership, Trent is obviously very small. Robertson's relative differential as well, but Trent's is very small. That means it could jump quickly. And that's the sort of gamble I would recommend. Take Trent. Trent could outscore Robertson. The statistics and all that in terms of how far forward Robertson's getting, he's only players that have 100 crosses. I get all that. But Trent can put 2 free kicks in the top bin and hardly touch the ball all game. I would go Trent still. Jovial says, I have Watkins, Grealish, Kane. Should I bring in Werner, Vardy, Adams, Rashford, Pulisic for double game week 19? If you're planning towards double game week 19, Jovial, relax. Don't worry about it too much. I think in order of priority, who you're looking to move there, you're looking to move Watkins probably after this game week. Then there's a case of probably moving Grealish, then finally Kane. And that's your order. In terms of Werner or Vardy, Vardy would be the preference. Adams, I think it's a good replacement for Watkins on that strategy. Rashford or Pulisic for Grealish, I presume. Preference would be Rashford, just because even if it goes badly, you got that Sheffield United home fixture afterwards as well. So Rashford would be the preference. Chelsea have good spacing between their double O Friday and Wednesday. I think it's the biggest spacing, which is positive. And I think with Pulisic, you'd want to leave the decision late. Like, I'd love to get Pulisic if I knew he'd play all the games. I can't wildcard into him now. I haven't got the information. And they've got like Villa and City coming up first. Not great fixtures. Pulisic I might come back to. Honestly, if he starts firing beforehand and I get to 19 and for whatever reason shit's happened and Son to Pulisic is on for me, I wouldn't hesitate to make that move. Definitely Vardy over Werner for me personally. Lee Jackson says, Merry Christmas, boss. Where's the hat? All right. Where's the hat? There you go. There's the hat. I should have put the hat on in the fucking first place. I wouldn't have got asked about my Darth Scar there neither. Yol says, is it wise to triple captain Salah, James? I'm going to presume that question is based for game week 19 rather than this game week. Wouldn't advise it for the West Brom game, as attractive as that fixture might look. I'm not going to pay anybody off triple captain Salah in triple captain in game week 19. Again, I'd recommend listening to the start of that podcast on Tuesday, Humbug Carabao, season 4, episode 19, where I spoke about the fact that there will be a lot of Mohamed Salah triple captainers in game week 19. Quite simply, you got the best team in the league about to play 2 home games in the first double game week of the season. People will not hesitate. So, yeah, it's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Z21293, evening, James. Wishing you and yours a happy festive season. Was keenly looking at Vestergaard to target game week 19 on my first wildcard. Any news on him coming back by then? Covered off quite near the start of the podcast, so don't want to repeat. But I'm not anticipating him being out that long. Ryan, would you play Soufal or Lowton? I'd play Soufal. Pushcar says, how badly did my Vardy to Kane -4 go? I would have even captained Bruno otherwise. Nearly a 30-point swing. And Merry Christmas, James. Ouch. FPL disasters. Shit happens, Pushcar. We've all had that moment, mate. Joe Philly Bader, help James. My FPL team is in a mess. Favourite Christmas song? God. The majority of them are awful. I know it's a bit Scrooge-ish of me to say so, but that's a bit... Let's go for Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas. She's a lovely lady. Jovial, congrats, James. Carabao Cup trophy coming to Spurs. Mourinho is a winner. Easy fixture versus Brentford. Slow. But I do want to say something interesting about that draw. And I had a call with a few of my patrons earlier today, and I was talking about this with them. I think it is inwardly emotional of you that before you have a cup draw, you anticipate the worst. You never sit there thinking, oh, we're going to get more come home here. You think you're going to get the worst. I think that's what you always do. So you see a draw there, Man City, Man United, Brentford, I'm letting go, definitely getting City away here. Yeah, can see that. If we're at home, it'll still be City. But I watched the draw and I didn't say nothing. I intentionally didn't say nothing, but I was watching, I was saying, I bet we get Brentford. Mourinho's the luckiest fucking bastard alive, honestly. It's just something, he just brings it with him. He just brings all the jam with him. And as a Spurs fan, I admit that. I genuinely thought we're going to get Brentford. And even when it got pulled out, Manchester United to Manchester City, I muttered under my breath, bet we're at home. I mean, we might be better off being away in actual fact. But actually, having seen the state of Brentford's pitch in the week, we're definitely better off being at home, I think. We struggle enough to put pass on a flat pitch, never mind a bumpy one. I don't know why Brentford's pitch is such a statement. I just moved in that stadium, by the way, but there you go. So yeah, I had a feeling we was going to get Brentford. It's not an easy fixture. It'll be a far more difficult game than Stoke. They've got some really exciting forward players like Tony and Buemo. They're a good side. They will come and play, be fearless. All those guys who didn't play against Newcastle will play against us. It won't be Tottenham will make hard work of it. But yes, what an opportunity to get to a cup final. Yo says Salah triple captain game week 15. No. We don't do that, mate. You got a double game week coming up. Rhinos leads. Merry Xmas, James. Bit mental, but what about a -16? Love this. Chilwell, James, Mahrez, Wilson. Excuse me, all could get 0. Robbo, Trent, Walcott, Rodrigo in. What I need you to do, my friend, because I consider you a friend. We talk to each other we interact a lot on here and on Twitter and stuff. I would ask yourself to go into the mirror in the bathroom, look into it deeply, and repeat to yourself 3 times, I am going to take a -16 and I am going to buy Theo Walcott. And then I want you to think about what you're doing with yourself afterwards. And if you're still happy with it, pull the trigger, mate. -16 of Theo Walcott as part of it. I'm not massively keen on the Rodrigo shout either, to be very honest. Not big on that. Even though you got Robbo and Trent on now. No, I don't think so, mate. Not for me. You are right. All of those players could score 0. -16. I don't think so. You bench an absolute mess. I think I'd be looking at -4 or so just to fix it. Be the best thing there, I think. Savanch says, any chance of Man United Burnley still being put in game week 18? Yes, there is, Savanch. I did cover that a little bit earlier in the show, so I don't want to repeat that again. And to be fair, you probably asked the question before. Atul says, which manager do you think is most likely to get sacked next this year? Well, you can't look beyond Arteta at the moment, can you? If they keep losing, how long do they give it? At which point do they keep losing? They go, we need to cut this off. Is it when they lose at West Brom? When they lose at home to Newcastle? I mean, how far do you let it go? I still don't think that sacking him is the right answer. But if he's lost the dressing room, you either have to sack him or you have to get the people in the dressing room that cause him trouble out of the club. That's all rumours, in fairness. But you'd have to say it's him, isn't it? You look at the teams at the bottom. West Brom have just changed. Sheffield United will not sack Chris Wilder. Scott Parker should be all right at Fulham at the moment, improving. Steve Bruce has got a tough run coming up, 3 games. If Arsenal improve over the next 4 or 5 games, which I'd expect them to do so, to be fair, Steve Bruce might find himself in a very awkward position by the time he goes to Sheffield United in game week 18. Lose that, and they might panic and change. And it might not be panic. It might be a good choice. So I think Steve Bruce could be in some trouble as well, but you couldn't look beyond Arteta at the moment, could you, to be honest? FPL Hitman, gashed head. That's a champ man injury. So true. Noah Jacobs, hey mate, struggling to find sub 7 million midfield options. I like Rafinha, but that is about it. What do you reckon? I feel exactly the same, Noah. There is nothing in that 6 to 7 million bracket I like. The one I think for me personally, if I went and bought in there, would probably be Jared Bowen. I'm not keen on it. I discussed it with Suj earlier on our Patreon pod that we've pre-recorded for tomorrow. I don't know. I'm not keen on it. I think you're better off coming down to Rafinha. Or Recluse says, can't believe I'm so torn between whether to bring in Trent or Robbo. Which one of them would you be happy to go without from the 2? To be honest, that's the flip what I said earlier about buying Trent. At the moment, it'd be better to go without Trent because of the opposite of what I said. Daniel says, hey, James, I'm looking at having Soufal, Justin Welbeck and Martinez as my game week 19 bench boost. False. I think that sounds absolutely fine, Daniel. Brighton have the double, don't they? They have Leeds away and City away, don't they? I believe. Oh, no, City's a single game. So Brighton should have a single game. Leeds away. Less keen. I'd take a hit to move Welbeck, personally. There's this Adams, Bamford. There's good options there. Antonio, if he's back fit, I'd take the hit to move him. But don't hate it. As a single game week player to play in a bench boost, that's not the worst sort of one. Welbeck away to Leeds. I'd also be very conscious if he plays at Manchester City in the midweek before. I think there's 3 days between City and Leeds, and you've always got to be cautious of Welbeck and recovery, haven't you? So if he played at City in the 18, I'd take a -4 to remove him for another forward. But it's not the worst, Daniel. Right, it's coming up to an hour, so I'm going to do 3 more, and then we'll end it here, guys. Rebel FPL says, hi, James. What do you think about wildcarding into a team with about 7 players that play in 18? So I can save the free hit, take a -4 to -8 to ditch the worst of them for doublers. You sound like you've got a plan, mate. Do I like it? Not particularly. But if that's your plan and you've found that it's almost impossible to answer without seeing the full plan in terms of what the players are, etc. But if that's your plan and if you're happy with it, that's the most important thing. It's okay. There's no rights or wrongs here. Sainty says, Merry Christmas, James and Surgeon. Thanks for just being here for us. Not just 30, but great human beings. Peace, bro. I appreciate it. I should have finished on that one, shouldn't I? Pushkar says, the Spurs fan take a Carabao Cup trophy, deep Europa League run, but no top four. Seeing a lots of voicing against Jose's approach to go for trophies over top four at times. Your take, this prick has got to get me a trophy, I'm telling you. The simple answer to these things, Pushkar, is can I have both? The most important thing for the future of the football club, genuinely, is to be in the Champions League next year. So if you're asking me now, James, come May, you're gonna lose to Brentford in the Carabao Cup semi-final, but you'll finish fourth, or you're gonna win that trophy and finish fifth. I'll take fourth, because although it will make me feel better in the short term, the long-term importance of the football club is to be in the Champions League when it's so competitive with Chelsea, United around us, with City and Liverpool, so competitive. The priority, we're not on a level footing because we spend less money and stuff anyway. So the priority, like it or not, has to be to try and get in the top four. Has to be the priority. And from everyone thinking last week, oh yeah, Spurs win the title race, which I kept warning you guys, this is going to be a tough battle now, most likely with Chelsea, Manchester United, possibly Leicester and Southampton as well for top four. Tottenham have a lot of work to do. Favourable fixtures coming up that have to be won. Wolves isn't one of them favourable fixtures, but it still has to be won. Guys, thank you very much. For those on the stream, I hope you have a great Christmas. For those listening on the audio, thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas day, or if you're listening on Boxing Day morning, enjoy the festive period. Remember, everyone, please be safe with each other. Be nice to each other. It's that time of year. Try not to have arguments with the in-laws if you're seeing them. Be nice to each other. Eat loads. Drink responsibly. Don't fucking drink and drive. Be nice to each other. Don't forget, deadline Saturday is 11 a.m. for Boxing Day. I will be streaming at 10 o'clock. On Sunday night, we intend to have a podcast out at midnight for you. If you're staying up late and drinking, we'll have you covered. Deadline on Monday is 1:30 p.m. So even if you want to listen to it Monday morning, that should give you a little bit of time. We'll review all the weekend action. You can obviously have a catch up on that. And obviously me and Suj are both on wildcard as well. So hopefully by the time we record it, basically as soon as Wolves and Tottenham finish on Sunday night, we'll know what we're doing in terms of that wildcard and we'll discuss with it. Tuesday is likely to be a People's Poll podcast. Wednesday will be Sky. Thursday, another full podcast reviewing all the game week 16 action. I will stream again on Friday. Probably go back to Friday afternoon for Ask James, I think, next week. But I'll communicate that on the social media channels and whatnots. Patrons, full stuff to come. Differential show tomorrow for you on Christmas Day. Excuse me. Another differential show on Monday, previewing game week 16. Tottenham Tuesday. Wednesday, I think we're going to do the Q&A Wednesday, but I haven't decided yet. Thursday, I think we're doing an additional Sky Fantasy Football Extra Time podcast for you. And then Friday, another differential show preview, game week 17. But most important thing, guys, stay safe. Be nice to each other. Ciao for now. For the benefit of those listening on the audio, cue music, please, man child. Happy Christmas, everyone.